Imagine waking up one day and seeing the world with fresh eyes, as though a hidden veil has suddenly lifted. Colors seem more vivid, your senses more alive, and an unshakable feeling of deeper purpose stirs within you. In this state, it's as though a new reality has taken shape before your very eyes. Yet you notice an unsettling distance forming between you and the people who once felt closest. The friends who used to share your laughter and secrets may now appear out of sync with who you're becoming. Have you ever felt that subtle disconnection, as if you're no longer speaking the same language? This shift can feel both exhilarating and unsettling, especially when you realize it's not just strangers, but your lifelong companions who might no longer relate to the person you're evolving into. One individual who watched a video on this topic wrote in to share their story of isolation. They described going through a profound spiritual awakening, an experience they likened to having a bright light shine on parts of their life they never realized were dark. Suddenly, old habits, old beliefs, and even old friendships seemed alien. The friend they'd counted on for over a decade seemed baffled by their new perspectives, dismissing them as just a phase. It stung more than words could describe. That moment, they said, was the beginning of a long journey of introspection, loneliness, and eventually, deeper self-discovery. If you've had a similar experience, you might wonder why such a powerful moment of growth can create distance with those you love. Isn't awakening meant to make you feel more connected to everything around you? Yet here you are, grappling with a swirl of emotions, elation at your expanded sense of self, mixed with sorrow over the friendships that feel like they're slipping away. Before you start blaming yourself, consider that this dissonance might be a vital part of your transformation. In fact, this uncomfortable tension can serve as a gateway to even richer, more meaningful connections. After all, one door closing often leads to another opening, offering paths you never dared to imagine. Research indicates that well over half of those who undergo a spiritual awakening, around 60, experience emotional shifts that ripple through their relationships. These awakenings can come in many forms: a sudden realization of life's impermanence, a calling to explore a deeper purpose, or a newfound awareness of the interconnectedness of all things. In psychological terms, some might call it self-realization. In spiritual contexts, it can be akin to enlightenment or expanded consciousness. Either way, your internal world is changing, and it's only natural for the external world to respond in turn. Carl Jung, a renowned figure in depth psychology, would describe this transformation as a process of individuation. It's the gradual alignment with your most authentic self, a shedding of the conditioned layers you once carried without question. This is no small feat. As you peel away societal and familial expectations, you begin to see your true reflection. Sometimes, for the very first time, confusion and euphoria can mingle in ways that catch you off guard. One moment, you're on top of the world, convinced you've cracked the code to your own existence, and the next, you might feel lost in a sea of unfamiliar emotion. Whether you call it spiritual awakening, self-realization, or individuation, this process asks you to embrace a completely new way of seeing yourself and the world. Such fundamental changes are bound to affect your friendships. Perhaps you feel your mind racing with novel insights, while your closest companions still cling to the routines you've outgrown. You mention your new passion for meditation, or you question the conventional career path everyone expects you to take. In response, your friends look at you with puzzled expressions, or politely change the subject. Some may even tease you, trivializing what feels momentous to you. This disconnect can be jarring, especially if these are people you've leaned on during life's most challenging moment. It's almost as though you're living in a parallel reality, one in which the music you once danced to has shifted to a new frequency. So why does this happen? Part of it lies in a psychological phenomenon known as cognitive dissonance. When your consciousness expands, you start noticing cracks in the foundation of your old beliefs and daily habits. Meanwhile, your friends might still operate from the same playbook as before. Their sense of self and the world remains anchored in the familiar, while yours is blossoming into new territory. This clash in perspectives creates friction. The more you stretch, the more your environment resists, because it has to readjust to fit the person you're becoming. Another key factor is the invisible blueprint society lays out for all of us. From a young age, we're taught what it means to be successful, stable, or normal. We're given roadmaps: get a good education, find a respectable job, settle down with a partner, maintain certain social circles. These societal norms can become the mortar that holds many friendships together. If you diverge from these expectations, say, you decide to prioritize spiritual growth or personal authenticity over a conventional career, it can rattle the foundations of relationships built on shared adherence to traditional milestones. It's not necessarily that friends want to hold you back. Rather, the framework that once connected you both might be crumbling under the weight of your personal evolution. You may begin to wonder whether your friendships were rooted in genuine alignment or merely convenience and shared circumstances. Do you and your old friends truly see the world in compatible ways? Or were you drawn together by external forces, like proximity, similar hobbies, or mutual acquaintances that no longer reflect the person you are now? These are challenging questions that can make anyone uneasy, because the answers often demand difficult decisions. It's far easier to keep going through the motions, pretending everything is as it once was. Yet if you ignore the growing tension, you might end up feeling trapped in a loop of inauthentic interactions. Complicating matters further is the illusion of happiness society often sells us. Many of us chase predetermined goals, certain levels of career success, a particular image on social media, a sense of belonging to the right circles, only to discover how hollow these achievements can feel. When you awaken, you see through this illusion. You realize that checking off boxes doesn't guarantee fulfillment. If your friendships are built on collective pursuit of these external markers, then the moment you step away from that race, you may find yourself drifting from the people who are still running it. This is not a matter of self-righteousness. It's simply a reflection of diverging priorities. Historical shifts, from counterculture movements to modern spiritual revivals, show us that societies have long grappled with the tension between personal authenticity and social conformity. Those who break from the script often face skepticism or even outright rejection. If you look back at any major cultural shift, you'll find narratives of individuals who lost friends, family, or community support in the process. On a smaller scale, your personal transformation echoes the same age-old pattern. The good news is that this tension has also been the seedbed for meaningful innovation and deeper human connection. Sometimes we need to dismantle outdated structures to build anew. Once you start noticing these unspoken pressures, it can feel overwhelming. New insights flood your mind, and suddenly, the simple act of meeting old friends for coffee can feel like stepping back into a story you've outgrown. You might struggle to express your changing worldview in ways that are both genuine and respectful. Disagreements may arise, especially if you challenge strongly held beliefs or question well-worn routines. In these moments, there's a powerful urge to isolate yourself, as though retreating from the world is the only way to protect the fragile sense of clarity you've gained. Yet isolation, while sometimes necessary for reflection, can lead to profound loneliness if it becomes your default response. One might find comfort in solitude, a chance to digest new ideas without external judgment. But over time, an unaddressed sense of isolation can become a burden. The real challenge is finding a balance. How do you preserve the integrity of your new perspectives while staying open to the people around you? One approach is to cultivate skillful communication. This means recognizing that not everyone will share your mindset, and that's okay. You can still engage in open dialogue without diluting your truth. Active listening is a powerful tool here. When friends question your choices, try to hear the concerns beneath their words. Are they worried about losing the person they once knew? Are they feeling left behind or misunderstood? By empathizing with their viewpoint, you create a bridge rather than a wall. Conversely, it's important for you to communicate your experiences in a manner that isn't dismissive of theirs. Instead of imposing your new views, you might share how these perspectives have enriched your life, acknowledging that their path may look different. There are stories of people who navigated these shifts successfully and even emerged with stronger friendships. One person shared that although their best friend initially dismissed their spiritual practices as weird, candid conversations about what sparked that change eventually led to mutual respect. Over time, the friend decided to explore some of these practices as well, discovering unexpected benefits. Their shared journey became a testimony to the power of vulnerability and mutual understanding. Even if the friend had remained uninterested, this individual felt a sense of peace, knowing they had at least tried to communicate sincerely. Still, growth sometimes requires pruning. You may realize certain people in your life are unwilling, or simply not ready to accept the changes you're embracing. It can be painful to let go, especially when a friendship is steeped in years of memories. Remind yourself that change does not erase the value of what once was. It simply transforms it. As your personal needs shift, you might crave more intimate and reflective spaces over the large social gatherings you used to attend. You may find that you're drawn toward people who speak openly about life's deeper questions, who see challenges as catalysts for evolution rather than obstacles to be avoided. Embracing solitude can be transformative when approached with a spirit of self-discovery rather than despair. For many, spending time alone becomes an essential part of integrating new insights. Quiet moments let you explore who you are without the constant feedback or judgment from external sources. This kind of solitude can act as a mirror, reflecting back not only your strengths, but also the unresolved parts of yourself. It can be uncomfortable, yet growth often flourishes in discomfort. Many have reported that learning to find solace in solitude gave them the clarity and confidence to later form more authentic friendships. There is a profound shift that occurs when you move from wanting many friends to cherishing only a few meaningful connections. Suddenly, it's quality over quantity, a concept that might feel radical in a society that celebrates large social networks and the constant hustle for attention. Ask yourself which connections genuinely enhance your sense of self. Who listens to you with genuine curiosity rather than waiting for their turn to speak? Who challenges you to think deeper, to love more openly, or to approach life from a place of compassion? These are the connections that support your ongoing journey, the ones worth nurturing, even when it requires uncomfortable conversations. If you find yourself in a situation where maintaining old friendships feels forced, consider whether it's time for a candid talk about the changes you're undergoing. Communication can be healing or at least clarifying. Sometimes, a friend might be more understanding than you anticipate. Other times, the discussion reveals a gap too large to bridge. Either way, honesty frees you from the weight of pretending to be someone you're not. For practical steps, begin by setting an intention for openness. Before meeting a friend you sense you're drifting from, listen deeply to their viewpoint. If you sense curiosity, share your experiences, how your awakening has shaped your view of life, relationships, and yourself. Emphasize that your growth isn't a rejection of them. It's simply a natural progression in your path. If conflicts arise, try to see if they stem from a desire to protect the old dynamic. Change can be frightening for people who aren't experiencing it firsthand. Reassure them that, while your interests or perspectives are different, your affection for them can still remain. The goal is not to force your awakening onto others, but to extend an invitation to grow alongside you, or at least respect your evolving worldview. Of course, not every conversation will lead to harmony. Sometimes, friends fear what they can't understand, or they cling tightly to old identities. If relationships fall away, recognize that each goodbye can also be a threshold to new hellos. Shared experiences and like-minded souls often appear unexpectedly once you create space for them. As you let go of those who no longer resonate with your authentic self, you create room for connections that do. It's a natural, if sometimes bittersweet, aspect of personal evolution. Many who have walked this path found themselves forging new bonds that are richer in empathy, depth, and mutual respect. Perhaps they connected with communities focused on mindfulness, spiritual development, or conscious living. Virtual groups, local meetups, or even chance encounters can bring you into contact with people whose journeys align more closely with your own. What might begin as a casual conversation over a shared interest can blossom into a meaningful friendship built on genuine understanding. As you reflect on the complexities of spiritual awakening, why it can spark friction with old friends, and how societal expectations fuel that tension, take a moment to honor your own courage. You're navigating a path that challenges entrenched norms, invites you to explore your inner world, and encourages you to stand firm in your evolving identity. This journey can be tumultuous, no question, but it also holds the potential for tremendous reward. As you gain clarity about who you are, you become more capable of extending empathy, compassion, and authenticity to the world around you. If you've been resonating with these ideas, consider sharing your thoughts or experiences below. You never know who else might be walking the same road, seeking that sense of community and validation. And if you find value in exploring deeper psychological and spiritual themes, think about tapping the subscribe button to stay connected. By building a community of like-minded individuals, we can collectively find ways to navigate the ups and downs of awakening without feeling isolated or misunderstood. Throughout this exploration, the overarching theme is growth, challenging, transformative, and ultimately liberating. Yes, the friendships you once cherished may change. Some might fade, while others deepen in unexpected ways. Yes, societal pressures can weigh on you, convincing you that you're stepping away from this safe path. Yes, your new knowledge can feel heavy, and the solitude you once avoided might become essential to finding your true compass. These realities are part of a bigger picture, the evolution of your consciousness and the unveiling of your life's purpose. Your personal needs are shifting, and that's okay. Lean into this unfolding process rather than fighting it. The key is to embrace your journey with an open heart, allowing the changes to teach you lessons about who you are, what you value, and the connections worth keeping. It's natural to feel pain when certain people can't accompany you to the next stage of your life. But it's also important to trust that the right relationships will emerge to match the frequency of who you're becoming. Over time, you may be surprised to see that even initial feelings of loss give way to gratitude for the space these changes have created. As you take these reflections into your own life, remember that you're not alone. Countless souls across time and cultures have faced the challenge of aligning with their authentic selves. Each step you take, each honest conversation, each silent moment of contemplation, each new perspective you dare to explore, adds to the tapestry of your unique path. When you feel the weight of isolation or the sting of a dissolving friendship, remind yourself that growth often comes with necessary shedding. And in that shedding, you may discover the seeds of more profound understanding, love, and unity than you ever thought possible. Thank you for journeying through these ideas and sharing your energy here. May you find comfort in knowing that the friction you feel in your friendships is a signal of your inner evolution. May you discover deeper connections with those who can meet you in this new vibration. And above all, may you walk forward with confidence and openness, embracing the unknown while holding your heart steady. If you found resonance in these words, feel free to let us know what struck you most, and consider staying connected for more discussions on spiritual growth and personal transformation. You are in good company. Keep expanding, keep exploring, and never doubt that your unfolding path is leading you exactly where you need to be.